It's no surprise that a majority of Americans consider themselves middle class. But what does that really mean in today's economy? According to a survey conducted by Northwestern Mutual, an insurance company, 7 out of 10 Americans consider themselves middle class. However, a closer look into the data reveals that the middle class is actually shrinking. The Pew Research Center found that only 29% of the population is part of the middle class, with 19% in the upper class. So what does this mean for the average American? Today, we're talking about 12 signs that you are in the middle class. Being in the middle class can be both a blessing and a challenge, so it's important to know if you fit into this category. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. 12. Your annual earnings are between $50,000 to $125,000. Determining your class status can be done through examining your income. To be considered part of the middle class, your yearly income should be between $50,000 and $125,000. However, members of this bracket may not display their class status through purchasing luxury items or expensive memberships. On the contrary, a wiser method of managing their wealth is to invest a large portion of their income in assets that have the potential to grow in value, thereby adding to their net worth. This is the key difference between someone who earns a middle-class salary and spends like a millionaire and someone who makes the same salary but invests it wisely. 11. You're slightly more optimistic about the economy. A majority of those in the middle class are highly optimistic about the economic outlook for the upcoming year. In fact, 47% of middle-class respondents in a recent survey expressed a belief that the economy will improve in the near future, compared to only 43% of the general population. Optimism among middle-class citizens is strong, and it is clear that they are confident about future economic growth. 10. Owning gym equipment most of the people within this class have. Middle-class citizens are often willing to invest in home exercise equipment, such as exercise bikes, yoga mats, treadmills, and other pieces of fitness equipment that can get their heart rate up without having to leave their homes. This reflects the value they place on their health and well-being. However, these pieces of equipment are often not used to their full potential. Owning gym equipment in the home is seen as a symbol of wealth, as not everyone can afford it. Lower-income citizens consider it a luxury. 9. They need an emergency fund. A recent study published in The Atlantic revealed that nearly half of Americans do not have $400 in savings to use for an emergency. This statistic is especially concerning for middle-class people, as many of them live paycheck to paycheck and wouldn't know where to turn for quick money. Credit cards are usually their last option when faced with an emergency, even if it's something as simple as needing new tires for a car. Not having a financial cushion for unanticipated expenses can be extremely risky. It's important to have enough money set aside to cover expenses for at least 3 months in the event of job loss or a major life change. Wealthy individuals often have enough savings to fall back on during difficult times. 8. Knockoff clothes. Middle-class people love designer brands. People who are wealthy and belong to the upper class value quality and authenticity when it comes to designer items. They are knowledgeable about the different versions of designer items and can easily tell when something is not real. To ensure they are getting genuine designer items, they only buy from known and trusted sources. However, those who cannot afford designer items will still try to look like they have more money than they do, so they opt to buy knockoffs or fake versions of designer items that are usually of low quality. According to research, 90% of all Louis Vuitton products sold in the United States are fakes. 7. Middle class watch reality shows. According to research done by The Wrap, the middle class tends to watch reality shows such as The Bachelor, MasterChef, and America's Got Talent. In contrast, those in the lower classes prefer watching shows like Jerry Springer and Judge Judy that are full of drama, fights, and shouting matches. Frank N. Magid Associates research revealed that 40% of those who watch daytime shows earn an income of less than $20,000 and have no college degree. Interestingly, those who are very wealthy read more books than they watch TV shows. 6. Social media addicts. People in the middle class category. Staying active on social media is a great way to stay connected with friends and family, but it should not be used as a way to measure one's worth. The middle class often judges their value based on the amount of likes and followers they have, but that does not lead to true happiness. Real joy is found in meaningful relationships, not on social media platforms. Wealthy individuals don't need social media to boost their self-esteem because their success speaks for itself. They rarely spend time on the internet and only use it to promote their brand. The upper class is so consumed with their own lives that they hire someone else to manage their accounts. Their confidence comes from their accomplishments, and they do not need validation from social media to feel good about themselves. 5. Healthcare is expensive. Poor people often qualify for Medicaid. Many people in the U.S. have access to free healthcare for their entire lives as long as they remain in poverty. But once they move into the middle class, they are faced with the challenge of paying expensive premiums for health coverage, sometimes costing up to a few $100s. Sadly, high medical bills are cited as one of the main reasons why people in the U.S. file for bankruptcy. Wealthy individuals, however, do not experience such issues as they are usually well insured and their expenses are thus taken care of. The middle class, however, is unable to bear the burden of such high premiums due to their tendency to purchase luxury items instead of essential healthcare coverage. 4. They rent their homes. Middle-class people are usually those who rent or own their homes. According to Pew Research Center, the demand for rental accommodation has increased greatly since the 2008 financial crisis. Around 43 million Americans are renting a house or an apartment. Those living in poverty or lower class are often forced to share a home due to their limited financial resources, while others rely on family members for a roof over their heads. In contrast, wealthy people tend to purchase multiple properties rather than rent them, believing it to be a more profitable investment in the long run. Short-term renting may be a viable option, but if done for an extended period of time, it will not enable you to accrue equity. 3. They value credentials. The people in the middle class. When evaluating a person, it is important to consider their credentials rather than their salary. For example, a lecturer with a PhD earning $30,000 per year would be viewed higher than a plumber earning $70,000 per year. Even though the lecturer may have financial difficulties due to their lower salary, they would still be seen as a white-collar or professional person. In contrast, the plumber would not be seen as middle class despite their higher salary. 2. They followed a traditional path. The traditional 9-to-5 job with a good salary, health insurance, vacation time, and a plan to retire at the retirement age is a common lifestyle for the middle class. This is often seen as the most secure way to avoid poverty. But it's not always the most advantageous way to become wealthy. To achieve financial stability, it usually requires doing something outside of the traditional route. 1. You buy the latest Apple products when someone is always upgrading there. Many in the middle class often buy the latest tech gadgets to stay up to date with what is trending. They purchase them not because they need to or because their old ones are defective, but because they can. Unfortunately, people with lower incomes cannot afford the newest iPhone as soon as it is released. They may have a phone that is a few years old. Those in the middle class are typically the ones who buy the latest gadgets to show off. They simply want to be seen as having the newest technology. It may seem that wealthy individuals always have the newest versions of everything, but this is not always true. The affluent understand when it is prudent to spend money and when it is not. Is there really much of a difference between the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Now that you know this, do you think you fall into the middle class? Or does this sound like someone you know? That's all for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more videos from our channel, subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell icon.